You have been so gracious about it, the waiting, the managing, the quietly recalibrating your expectations every time things didn't move the way you hoped. And what I need you to understand right now, before anything else, is that the grace with which you have carried financial uncertainty has not gone unnoticed by the universe. Something is changing in the material landscape of your life, something significant, and it is moving faster than you currently realize. But there is a conversation we need to have first, because this shift, this financial opening that is arriving, comes attached to something that requires your full attention. Not fear, not panic. You are not built for panic, and this message is not designed to create it. But there is a layer of wisdom woven into what is coming your way, and if you receive the abundance without receiving the wisdom alongside it, you will find yourself, not long from now, standing in a familiar kind of emptiness despite having more than you've had in a while. And you deserve far better than that. You deserve to receive this fully, wisely, and in a way that actually transforms your life rather than passing through it like water through open hands. So let's begin at the beginning. Let's begin with what is actually true about where you are right now. There has been a pressure, a low-grade, persistent, sometimes suffocating financial pressure that has been sitting in the background of your life, like whether you learned to stop mentioning because mentioning it didn't seem to change it. You adapted. You are extraordinarily good at adapting, at finding the elegant solution within the constraint, at making beautiful things work within difficult parameters, at presenting a composed exterior, even when the interior reality is considerably more strained. People around you, in many cases, have had no idea. Because you are Libra, and Libra does not easily let the world see the places where things are fraying. You manage the appearance of balance, even when balance is the very thing you are struggling to find. And financially, that struggle has been real. It may have looked like delayed plans, dreams that got quietly postponed because the timing wasn't right and the resources weren't there. Opportunities you watched pass by because you couldn't quite reach them from where you were standing. Conversations about money with yourself, with partners, with the part of you that keeps a running tally of what is owed and what is missing that have left you feeling a specific kind of tired. Not the tired of someone who has given up. The tired of someone who has not given up, who keeps showing up, who keeps doing everything right, and who is waiting, still waiting for the effort to be reflected in the outcome. That reflection is coming, and it is coming with a force that is proportional to how long you have been waiting for it. There is a financial opening moving into your life that carries the energy of something unlocked rather than something merely earned. It will feel, when it arrives, less like the result of a single action and more like the cumulative reward of an entire sustained effort finally finding its moment. Like a door that has been slowly, invisibly working its way toward open, and now it is open, it may come through a source that surprises you. It may arrive through a combination of things happening simultaneously that creates an effect larger than any one of them could have produced alone. It may look like an opportunity, an unexpected sum, a resolution of something that has been financially complicated, a recognition of your value that translates into something concrete and real. Whatever its precise form, the energy around it is unmistakable. This is a shift, not a flicker. This is not a temporary relief, followed by a return to the same strain. This is something that has the potential to genuinely alter the financial chapter you are living in. But here is where the warning lives. And I want you to sit with this for a moment because it is important, not as a threat, not as a punishment, but as the most loving and honest piece of guidance I can offer you. Libra has a relationship with money that is unlike most other signs, and understanding that relationship is the key to everything that follows. You do not love money for its own sake. You are not materialistic in the way that word usually implies. What you love, what you have always loved, is what money makes possible. Harmony, beauty, the ability to create spaces, experiences, and conditions that feel genuinely good. The ability to be generous, because generosity is one of your deepest pleasures. The ability to say yes to the people you love when they need something. The ability to live in a way that reflects your values rather than contradicting them. Money, for you, is a vehicle for a particular quality of life that matters to you enormously, and there is nothing wrong with any of that. But here is the complication, and it is one that has followed you through multiple financial chapters, because money is so closely linked for you to love and generosity and harmony. You have a pattern of allowing financial decisions to be made from emotional rather than practical ground. You have said yes to things you couldn't truly afford because saying no felt like withholding love. You have been generous beyond your means because the act of giving felt better than the safety of keeping. You have made financial choices designed to preserve a relationship's peace that quietly cost you your own financial peace. You have lent money that was never returned and absorbed the loss rather than damage the connection. You have spent on creating beautiful experiences for others while quietly neglecting the practical infrastructure of your own financial stability. And none of this came from weakness. It came from the depth of your heart. It came from the way you experience love as something expressed, demonstrated, made real through action and provision and presence. But the pattern, when it runs unchecked, leaves you perpetually giving from the financial reserves you were meant to keep for yourself. And then something arrives to replenish those reserves, and the cycle begins again, and the abundance never quite accumulates in the way it should. This is the warning. This is the thing the universe is asking you to hear right now before the windfall arrives, while you still have the clarity and the stillness to receive it. What is coming to you must be handled differently than what has come before. Not in a cold way, not in a way that requires you to stop being generous, because generosity is part of your soul, and asking you to abandon it would be asking you to become someone you are not. But in a way that places your own financial foundation as a sacred priority, in a way that recognizes the difference between genuine generosity and financially disguised people-pleasing, in a way that allows you to be both loving and boundaried, because those two things are not in conflict, though part of you has always quietly feared they were. The fear lives here in the belief that if you protect your money, you are somehow protecting yourself from love. That if you say no, or not yet, or not this time, you will lose something essential in your relationships. That scarcity for you is not just about resources, it is about connection. And so abundance, paradoxically, has sometimes made you feel more vulnerable rather than more secure, because suddenly there is something to give, and giving is how you have always felt safe being loved. This is the pattern the universe is asking you to examine right now, not to shame it, not to punish it, but to see it clearly enough that you can make a different choice when the abundance arrives. Because it is arriving for a reason. It is arriving because your life is meant to expand, and financial expansion is part of that expansion. But expansion requires a new container, and the container, the internal framework of how you relate to money, to generosity, to worthiness, and to your own security needs to be built before the expansion occurs, or the expanded resource will simply flow through the same old channels and arrive at the same old outcomes. So let's talk about that container. Let's talk about what it actually looks like to receive this windfall in a way that honors both your generous heart and your intelligent, practical mind, because you have both in equal measure. Even if the heart has been leading financial decisions for longer than was wise, the first thing the universe is asking of you is to pause before you give. Not permanently, not forever, not even for a long time. But when the abundance arrives, before you do anything with it, before you reach outward with it, before you start imagining what it could do for the people you love, pause. Sit with the feeling of having it. Let yourself experience what it feels like to simply possess something without immediately finding somewhere for it to go. This will feel slightly uncomfortable. That discomfort is information. It is telling you how unfamiliar your own financial security feels to you. And feeling that discomfort, rather than immediately resolving it through outward generosity, is one of the most important things you can do with this moment. Because underneath the generosity, underneath the giving, underneath the beautiful way you fill other people's worlds with what they need, there is a Libra who has been quietly, consistently putting themselves last on the list of people whose needs matter. And the universe is sending you this abundance partly as a message, not just as a reward. The message is, you matter too. Your financial security matters. Your ability to stop calculating and start resting matters. Your capacity to move through the world without the low hum of financial anxiety matters. And none of those things can be achieved if the first thing you do with what arrives is redirected outward. Fill your own vessel first, not as a selfish act, as a revolutionary one. There is someone, and you may already know who this is, who will sense that something has shifted for you financially. And they will come, perhaps with subtlety, perhaps with love, perhaps with a need that feels genuine and urgent and hard to refuse, and they will stand at the edge of what you have just received. And the decision you make in that moment, the boundary you either hold or surrender, will determine whether this windfall becomes a transformation or simply a temporary reprieve. This is not a warning about a villain. The person who arrives may love you genuinely. They may need what they're asking for. But the question is not whether their need is real. The question is whether meeting that need is your responsibility, and whether meeting it at the cost of your own foundation is an act of love or an act of financial self-abandonment disguised as love. You are wise enough now, in this moment, to know the difference. Even if it is uncomfortable to know it, there is also a professional dimension to what is arriving, and it deserves your careful attention, because within this financial shift, there may be an opportunity, a partnership, a contract, a collaboration, a new arrangement of some kind that looks on the surface beautifully aligned with what you want. And it may be, but Libra, in their deep desire for harmony, sometimes rushes to agreement before all the details are fully examined, because examining details creates friction, and friction feels like the beginning of conflict. And conflict is the thing you most want to avoid. So you smooth things over before they have the chance to become difficult. You agree before you've fully read the terms. You say yes to the relationship of it before you've interrogated the reality of it. Read everything. Ask the questions that feel uncomfortable. Examine what you are agreeing to with the same intellectual precision that you bring to everything else in your life, because your mind is extraordinary. Libra, genuinely extraordinary, and it is capable of identifying exactly what you need to know if you allow it to operate without the interference of social anxiety. The discomfort of asking a hard question in a negotiation is temporary. The consequence of not asking it can last years. You are worth the discomfort of the question. This financial opening also has a relationship with your sense of self-worth that goes far deeper than the practical, because the reason this abundance has taken as long as it has, the reason the timing feels from the outside like delay, is not that the universe forgot you. It is that there has been, in your relationship with yourself, a subtle but pervasive belief that you are more worthy of love than you are of prosperity. That care is something you deserve, but resources are something you have to earn through perpetual effort and strategic self-effacement. That asking to be well compensated, to be financially valued, to receive abundantly, that there is something almost impolite about that kind of wanting for yourself. This belief is not the truth of who you are. It is a story you absorbed somewhere, in some season, from some source that no longer has the authority to define your reality. And the universe is now asking you quite directly, through the material movement that is arriving, to update the story, to allow yourself to be someone who receives fully, without immediately earning it again through the next act of giving, without minimizing it, without finding ways to make it smaller than it is so that it feels safer or more proportionate to what you have unconsciously decided you deserve. You deserve this. Let that land. You deserve the financial relief, the expansion, the breathing room, the ability to stop performing financial fineness and actually be fine. You deserve to build something lasting with what is coming, something that serves you not just this season, but in all the seasons after. You deserve to feel in your bones and in your bank account that your labor, your creativity, your impeccable sense of what is needed and how to provide it, that all of that has genuine material value in the world, because it does. You have always brought more to every professional and creative endeavor than you have been compensated for. Not slightly more, significantly more. Your ability to see what is missing, to identify the element that would bring something into balance, to read the room with such precision that you know exactly what would transform a difficult situation into a workable one. These are rare skills, genuinely rare. And the world has been benefiting from them at a discount for long enough. What is arriving is, in part, the market correcting itself, the universe recalibrating in your direction, the recognition in material form of what you have always been worth. Now let's talk about what to do with it. Not in a prescriptive, rigid way. You are far too intelligent and individualized for generic advice. But in the spirit of the wisdom this windfall carries with it, there are a few truths that feel important to name. Build something first before you enjoy it, and you should enjoy it genuinely without guilt, because joy is part of what money is for build something. Put something in a place that is safe and growing and yours, that cannot be given away on a gracious impulse or depleted by someone else's emergency. A financial foundation, however modest, changes the quality of every decision you make afterward. It changes the energy you bring to relationships, because you are no longer subtly afraid, and fear is one of the things that makes Libra most likely to compromise in ways that cost them. Security changes your choices. Build it, then and only then let yourself be generous in the ways that feel true to you, not obligatory, not defensive, but genuinely, freely, joyfully generous in the way that generosity is supposed to feel when it comes from abundance rather than scarcity. Because generosity from a full cup is one of life's most exquisite pleasures, and you deserve to experience it that way, not as a depletion, but as an expression of your most beautiful nature. There is a version of your financial life ahead that looks nothing like the strain you've been navigating, a version where the calculations are easy because the foundation is solid, a version where you make decisions from choice rather than necessity, from desire rather than obligation, from the luxury of a life that is genuinely working. This is not fantasy. This is not wishful thinking dressed up in spiritual language. This is the trajectory that is being laid out before you right now, and the only thing standing between you and that version of your life is your willingness to receive what is coming with both hands open and both eyes clear. Open hands, clear eyes, that is what this moment is asking of you. There is one more thing, and it is perhaps the most quietly profound. This financial shift is going to change something in how you see yourself that goes beyond money. Because for Libra, the material world is always a reflection of the internal world, and when the external landscape shifts significantly, it is because something inside has shifted first or is shifting simultaneously in that beautiful way where the inner and outer move together like two hands reaching toward the same thing from different directions. What is shifting inside you is your relationship with deserving, with worthiness, with the belief still fragile, still new, still finding its footing that you do not have to earn your place in abundance through endless service and self-sacrifice. That you are allowed to simply be and to receive and to exist in the reality of someone who is genuinely, sustainably, peacefully okay, more than okay, genuinely well. You have spent so much of your energy making things beautiful for other people, smoothing, harmonizing, creating conditions in which other people could thrive, and the universe is not asking you to stop. It is asking you to include yourself in the category of people for whom you create beautiful conditions, to turn the extraordinary care you extend outward, at least partially, inward, to build, with what is arriving, a life that reflects the same quality of thoughtfulness and beauty that you bring to every space you occupy. You deserve to live inside the life you have always been building for others. You deserve to be the beneficiary of your own extraordinary capacity for creating something good. And this abundance, this windfall, this opening, this shift is the universe handing you the materials to finally, completely do exactly that. Receive it, hold it, build with it, and do not let the old pattern convince you that the most loving thing you can do is give it away before you have given it to yourself. You have waited long enough to be well. You have been patient long enough and gracious enough and careful enough. The season of strain is ending. The season of what you have actually earned, not just financially, but energetically, spiritually, in the full currency of a life lived with integrity, that season is beginning. And it is going to feel, once the initial adjustment settles, like coming home to a version of your life that finally, genuinely fits who you have become.